Sage Mammy Steele has been someone who has become an unfortunate staple on my channel over the years. I think I remember first talking about her on my original channel, and I really haven't backed down talking about her since, if she ever popped up in the news. But it has been a while since I last talked about her. Well, this one right here is going to be very interesting. Now, before anyone asks, yes, I have done a triple P on this woman in the past. I think the last time I talked about her was when she got hit in the face with that golf ball at some kind of golfing tournament, and then I think it knocked one of her teeth out and she had to get that fixed. I think that happened about maybe 2 years ago now, if my memory serves me correctly. Many of you probably remember when that actually occurred, but I remember that vividly. Well, here I am again doing another triple P on her, and this is probably the wake-up call one. I think she's had plenty, but this is a major one right here. Because according to various outlets and reports that have gone out so far, including the one I'm going to read from, Sage Mammy Steele will be walking away from ESPN after a settlement that she had with the network. Apparently she had some kind of lawsuit dispute with them, and they ended up settling for a certain amount of money. And after she got her check, she announced that she was leaving the network altogether. And I'm surprised she didn't even leave sooner, because remember what I told you, when your time slot starts to change, that means they're trying to push you on your way out the door. Because she used to be covering a lot of major sports segments, and then they moved her around to different other segments that people really weren't paying attention to. She was also in a particular time slot, but then they moved her to another one in that slot that no one pays attention to, sort of like what they did to Donna over there at CNN before, of course, he ended up getting his pink slip and sent on his way after that interview that he did with Ramen Noodle a couple months back. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm gonna read this article coming from CNN Business. It was posted August 15th, 2023. Prominent ESPN Sports Center anchor Sage Steele, who sparked controversy over her comments about mandates, I would just put it like that, female sports reporters, and former President Barack Obama's racial identity, has left the network after settling a lawsuit. Steele, who joined ESPN in 2007, was removed from the network's air in 2021 after her comments on political and social issues drew criticism. She apologized for the comments, but last year filed a lawsuit against the network alleging that it had retaliated against her over her remarks and that her right to free speech had been violated. Lady, you work for ESPN that's owned by the mouse. Your free speech is pretty damn limited. And when you think about what she said, I'm not surprised that they came at her like that. And see, she's like one of them PC individuals that loves to peddle that free speech thing, but they don't read the fine print. And it doesn't help either that this woman has a lot of self-hate issues. I remember I did a video on my original channel where she was penning this letter, I think talking to about her mother, and I believe her mother is PC and her father was black. She only put one little small excerpt in that letter, so-called, about her dad, and that little part that she put in there make it seem like she was very standoffish to this man, and I believe he was in the military. I will never forget that, and that's when I really knew that about this woman showing her true colors, was through that letter that she had penned. You might be able to find it if you search for it. Having successfully settled my case with ESPN Disney, I have decided to leave so I can exercise my First Amendment rights more freely, Steele said in a social media post Tuesday morning, after she got paid, of course. I am grateful for so many wonderful experiences over the past 16 years, and I am excited for my next chapter. An ESPN spokesperson confirmed her departure in a statement to CNN. ESPN and Sage Steele have mutually agreed to part ways. We thank her for her many contributions over the years, the network said Tuesday. A person familiar with the matter said the network had been in mediation with Steele prior to her departure. The terms of her departure were not known. Steele's attorney did not immediately respond to a CNN request for comment. In 2021, Steele made a number of controversial comments on a podcast. While talking about ESPN's company mandate, Steele says she respects an individual's decision to get the thing. I'll put it like that. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all read between the lines when I say that. But to mandate it is sick, and it is scary to me. She also questioned Obama's decision to identify as black on the census. I'm like, well, congratulations to the president. That's his thing. I think that's fascinating to consider his dad is black. was his black dad was nowhere to be found, but his white mom and grandma raised him. But hey, do you? I'm going to do me, Steele said. I remember that. This woman got mad because Obama chose to identify as black, but because his father wasn't in his life, she got mad because he didn't refer to himself as biracial. Hell, she probably would have preferred if he just identified as white, but that again is coming from a woman who is biracial herself. And that makes you wonder how this woman chooses to identify. She probably doesn't go a day referring to herself as black or biracial. You know, it is fine if that's it, what it is. But I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. Y'all look at this picture of Sage Steele. Do y'all think this woman could pass in any capacity? I'll wait. If you said no, congratulations, you get the little gold star. And the thing is, her and Obama are like the same complexion. But she got mad because he didn't consider himself or identify as mixed or biracial. That was a turning point for her. Steele also made comments about female sports reporters and sexual harassment, saying that women need to be responsible and it isn't just on players and athletes and coaches to act a certain way. She continued, I've had talks with young women. They're like, oh, would you look at my tape? And I said, listen, I would love to, but the way you present yourself is not something I would want to be associated with. So when you dress like that, I'm not saying you deserve the gross comments, but you know what you're doing when you're putting that outfit on too. In response, Steele apologized, saying her comments created controversy and that we are in the midst of an extremely challenging time that impacts all of us, and it is more critical than ever that we communicate constructively and thoughtfully. So that's pretty much the whole article right there. But trust and believe me, there are a laundry list of even more things. That's just a little tease of some of the stuff that she said over the years. Here's another one right here. That's another example of a controversial take that she gave. I couldn't remember exactly what it was, so I had to actually go and search this up. And I came across this on News One. She was angry with Trump protesters for disrupting her travel plans. I remember that. She was upset they were protesting Trump, and all she could worry about was like, I'm trying to get somewhere. She says, in 2018, that was a typo right here. Steele had a bone to pick with a crowd of protesters who appeared to be rallying against Trump at the LAX airport. Fuming with frustration, the TV personality took to Instagram to air out her grievances. So this is why thousands of us dragged luggage nearly 2 miles to get to LAX, but still missed our flights. She wrote to her 250,000 followers of how her travel plans were inconvenienced. Fortunately, a 7-hour wait for the next flight to Houston won't affect me that much, but my heart sank for the elderly and parents with small children who did their best to walk all the way but had no chance of making their flights. I love witnessing people exercise their right to protest, but it saddened me to see the joy of their faces knowing that they were successful in disrupting so many people's travel plans. She continued before adding, yes, immigrants were affected by this as well. Brilliant. And she even went on to post a picture of what was going on right here. And here's another one right here where she criticized Colin Kaepernick. Now keep in mind, Colin Kaepernick too, like Sage Steele and Obama, are considered to be biracial themselves, even though he claims his blackness a whole lot faster than she ever would. But she said Steele 2017 interview on the Dan Patrick Show is going viral again amid her explosive lawsuit with ESPN. On the show, she said she had no problem with the NFL's decision to suspend Colin Kaepernick after he took a knee during the national anthem in protest of police brutality and social injustice in 2016. I disagree with the whole premise of the issue. Steve Bisciotti, along with the other 31 owners in this league, they run a business. They have a right to make a decision they feel is best for their business, still argue. You want to know what's so interesting? ESPN, I'm sure, has many other people working for them, and they made the right decision to get rid of your self-hating ass Sage Steele. I refuse to believe this woman just is leaving just to leave. They gave her the money and they probably told you, look, once we settle, we can't work with you no more. And they probably said, you're gone after this. So here's your money. They basically, in my opinion, I truly believe they paid Sage Steele to leave. I truly believe that's really all it boils down to. But let me finish this out. She said, just like Colin Kaepernick has the right to express his opinion and do what's best for him, for his brand, for his career, there are repercussions to both. And this person responds with hypocritical much, which she most definitely is. And like I said, there's so many more other instances as well. But I think by now y'all pretty much get the picture. But if you really want to talk about an issue that a lot of black people had as far as her self-hate goes, was when she allowed this to happen. She let this man by the name of Kale Sonnen to touch her hair. Like, she literally leaned forward and let this PC man rub his fingers through her hair. She must have thought that those were the touch of her husband's hands. When she did this, now you can look at this quality right here and look at her in this picture and tell that this was a while ago. It was definitely a while ago, but that picture has never left people's minds when she did that. And we know that this, like, the history of PC people touching black people's hair, especially if it's a black woman's hair, is a thing of like, don't touch your hairs unless you're the one that's getting paid to do it. Like, you paid to have your hands in the head. And she willingly just leaned over and did it. But then again, this woman, she doesn't claim her blackness. I don't think we will ever hear Sage Steele even slip up and say that she's black. And I say slip up because we know she's not going to say that. But this right here was very devaluing, and she willingly debased herself on live television in order to do what she allowed this man to do. And she willingly let him do it. It's not like he just reached over and just did it. She leaned over the desk, as you can see, and did it. He barely had to do anything. It just reach his hand out, and she's smiling, showing all 32 teeth, just proud that she let this PC man touch her hair. It was a privilege to her for that to happen. Now I wonder would Sage Steele had let a black man do the same thing, or was she had caught an attitude. All in all, Sage Mammy Steele has more than earned her name and title that I've given her. Mammy is an official title for her. I know it could go to just about anybody in her position, but when I give someone a nickname, it just kind of sticks with them. And that's how I choose to associate. Now, she says that she's getting ready to go on to a next chapter in her life. I'm willing to bet she's going to try to go to some kind of conservative platform where she feels her First Amendment right can stretch its legs. I wonder, like, what place do you think she's gonna go? I'm curious. I want to ask my audience, what conservative spot do you think Sage Mammy Steele is going to head to? There's so many that she's probably looking forward to going to, if they'll even consider her. But you know what's so interesting? If she would just create her own platform, she could say whatever she wanted. She would have no overhead. It was all run by her. She doesn't have to worry about anything. But if she did that, how's she going to be closer to White Zaddy? She's going to be all alone. And speaking of White Zaddy, isn't her husband like a house husband or something like that? Because I remember she had made some comments about how, about finances and people making money and stuff like that. Meanwhile, her husband stays at home and pretty much watches the kids while she makes all the money. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Lord, I'm having a heart attack. Damn, this is some scary shit.